It's safe to say that not each and every scene ever pumped into this galaxy far, far away has seamlessly slipped into the various Skywalker and expanded sagas like a mechanical hand into a leather glove. I'm Gareth from What Culture Star Wars, and here are the 10 most out-of-place scenes in Star Wars history. Number 10. Hux and Poe's Banter, The Last Jedi. Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi came equipped with some truly stunning cinematography and a number of potentially game-changing shifts, like the feature focus on the grey area between the light and dark sides, for example. That being said, one Episode 8 beat that felt like a serious backward step upon release came in the form of a particularly cringy exchange between two of the sequel trilogy's ever-present entities. During said film's opening sequence, hotshot pilot Poe Dameron attempts to stall for time for the rest of his evacuating Resistance allies, and what ensues is a wholly awkward back and forth between himself and General Hux, containing everything from an odd "can he hear me" gag to a "your mom" dig from the former. What follows is undoubtedly one of the high points of the much-discussed Skywalker saga entry, with Poe leading a dangerous assault on a First Order dreadnought. But this moment of surreal comedy beforehand felt like it belonged in a different galaxy entirely. Number 9. A Mandalorian Detour, The Book of Boba Fett. While some understandably applauded the return of Beskar sporting badass Din Djarin in Disney Plus's recent The Book of Boba Fett show, many were also quick to note how his presence and dominating of the screen time from Episode 5's Return of the Mandalorian onwards largely overshadowed the apparent focus of the series. Acting more as a Mandalorian Season 3 prologue than a furthering of the son of Django's tale, everything from Mando's managing of his new Darksaber to his coming to terms with the departure of Grogu felt like it largely palmed off the Boba story fans had been taking in over the previous episodes. In truth, the Book of Boba Fett was already fighting something of an uphill battle with its slow drip storytelling of how the titular character came to grow in the wake of his infamous Sarlacc pit incident, but dedicating increasingly more time on the likes of Mando and his pals instead of using said scene space to give audiences more of a reason to invest in a character they'd been clamoring to see in his own spin-off for decades, felt like a bit of an odd decision when all was said and done. Number 8. Grogu Eats Some Eggs, The Mandalorian. In the midst of attempting to aid a character known as Frog Lady get to an estuary moon by the name of Trask so her husband can fertilize her eggs, yeah baby, Din Djarin's seemingly innocent and eternally hungry psychic opts to suddenly start chowing down on said unborn offspring. Sure enough, many of the Mandalorian fanatics out there were instantly conflicted over this harrowing turn of events. And while Lucasfilm creative art manager Phil Szostak would tweet out that the Frog Lady's eggs are unfertilized, that still could not erase the disturbing visuals from many a galaxy far, far away fans' minds. Number 7. George Lucas's not-so-subtle CGI, A New Hope. With technology coming on heaps and bounds in the years since George Lucas's first trip into hyperspace back in the late 70s, you could hardly blame the cutting-edge director for wanting to bring his original trilogy up to speed with the rest of the world. However, what could have acted as a tool to digitally refresh the series for generations to come has ultimately only succeeded in bizarrely dating that OG set of flicks, needlessly dumping clunky CGI beasties into the background of Mos Eisley and other aspects of Tatooine throughout the new and improved editions of A New Hope, for example, does the film little favors and actually disconnects the scenes in question from the rest of the lived-in world on screen. Now, Lucas's intentions were innocent enough when trying to lace his new technological toy into his original masterpieces, but the end result left a lot to be desired, it has to be said. Number 6. KYLO, Take Your Top Off, The Last Jedi. Of the many moments and characters open for debate when it comes to the up and down sequel trilogy roller coaster, one aspect of the features fans can pretty much unanimously agree on is the fact that Adam Driver more than delivered the goods with his turn as fallen Jedi Kylo Ren. Yet even with the most consistently mesmerizing performance these flicks had to offer, there was still one instance of weirdness that threatened to squander all that goodwill. With Ren and Rey being mentally connected by the Force over the course of The Last Jedi, the pair find themselves abruptly conversing from across the galaxy on a number of occasions. However, while some of these sudden beats took fans to intriguing new places, the moments Ren hilariously stumbled into Rey's mind while strutting around his quarters half naked didn't quite excite in the same manner. It's painfully difficult to take just about anything the two Force users say seriously, begging the question as to why this eventual meme-worthy moment was ever given the green light in the first place. Number 5. Jar Jar Binks plays a pivotal part in the Clone Wars, Attack of the Clones. Large portions of the Star Wars fanbase would have likely been content with seeing the last of Jar Jar Binks at the end of that 1999 Phantom Menace of a feature. And while Lucas did ultimately scale back the bumbling Gungans' involvement, with the main narrative being told across the likes of Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, on the back of this widespread backlash, there was still enough time to lace one more rather jarring Jar Jar occurrence into the prequel adventure. Quickly dusting off the sort of buffoonery that made him the butt of many a Star Wars joke one film earlier, the Binks scene in Episode 2, now acting as a damn senator, proposes to the Senate that emergency powers be handed over to the Supreme Chancellor, a move that directly leads to the clone army being unleashed on the Separatist forces, and later the rest of the galaxy, but we'll get there. And just like that, Jar Jar goes from village idiot to highly influential politician in a truly baffling blink of an eye. Number 4. Boba Fett's unintentional end. Return of the Jedi. Boba Fett's enigmatic debut in The Empire Strikes Back was eventually made a complete mockery of in next to no time during that film's follow-up. On the back of delivering the Han Solo goods to Jabba the Hutt, the badass bounty hunter eventually finds himself coming up against a revitalized Luke Skywalker and his mates as the gang all attempt to overcome Jabba and his forces aboard his sail barge. And it's here where a strange sequence more suited to a Robot Chicken sketch comes to pass, as Boba is hilariously dispatched by Solo completely by accident. Still half blind thanks to the effects of being frozen in carbonite, the devilish smuggler catches Fett's jetpack mid-spin, and subsequently causes the Beskar armored entity to seemingly succumb to a Sarlacc pit's conclusion after colliding with said sail barge post-rocket pack malfunction. Such a slapstick apparent death for a hugely compelling original trilogy antagonist felt like a sucker punch to many, and a moment that fans struggled to entirely come to terms with throughout the remainder of Return of the Jedi. Well, at least we got a book in the end, yay! Number 3. Anakin doesn't like sand. Attack of the Clones. Hayden Christensen is thankfully finally being given the chance to chew on some more engaging and altogether meatier scenes in his long-awaited return to Skywalker Vader territory. But all of the menacing duels with his former master and forced choking of helpless citizens in the world will not erase the fact that he once found himself at the center of arguably the galaxy's most cringe-inducing moment to date. With the young lad from Tatooine finding himself on an impromptu vacation of sorts on Naboo, with eventual lover Padme Amidala in Attack of the Clones, the usually cocky and confident Anakin Skywalker takes to letting his guard down a touch. It's here when the Jedi in training unfortunately announces to his future wife, "I don't like sand because it's coarse and rough and irritating and it gets everywhere." Tell me about it, brother. Christensen does what he can with the entirely awful dialogue, but nothing could save the scene from forcing many an onlooker to bury their head in their popcorn until the pulsating action sequences and less awkward verbal exchanges picked back up again. Number 2. CANTO BIGHT isn't quite right. The Last Jedi. Rocking up to a planet boasting a location with its very own space-aged answer to Las Vegas seemed like a recipe for something vibrant and enthralling in The Last Jedi, as Finn and Rose touched down on Cantonica's buzzing town of Canto BIGHT. Yet said promise was quickly squandered when it became abundantly clear that this casino detour offered very little to the central narrative at all, acting as primarily a way to shoehorn Benicio del Toro's DJ into the action and not much else. Admittedly, seeing a vibrant new landscape overflowing with an array of colourful alien inhabitants putting their money where their various mouths were was fun for a moment, but the contrived nature of Finn and Rose stumbling upon a hacker in their jail cell upon being imprisoned, and then eventually hopping aboard some suddenly freed wild beasties during their hardly gripping escape of the underworld, made for a rather uninspired use of both the largely underutilised heroes. All in all, this entire side mission felt like the sort you'd happily skip if given the choice in a video game setting. Number 1. Darth Vader loses his cool. Revenge of the Sith. As already noted, George Lucas had a rather jarring habit of leaning towards the melodramatic side of things when forging his prequel set of Star Wars entries. But ungracefully complaining about a few grains of sand getting in your boots pales in comparison to the all-out tantrum a recently scorched Anakin Skywalker suddenly lets loose late in the Revenge of the Sith day. It's not too hard to see why the now Darth Vader thoroughly loses his cool upon being informed by his new master Darth Sidious that he was responsible for the death of his beloved Padme Amidala. He's only human, well, half at least after all. However, the subsequent soap opera "No" that accompanies his forced wrecking of the room elicited a great deal more uncontrollable bouts of laughter than tears of sadness for the tortured fallen Jedi. Thankfully, Lucas mercifully refrained from having Vader say anything else for the duration of his prequel screen time, but Vader's unshakable aura was very nearly shattered right there and then, thanks to a cry of horror that rivals just about anything you'll find on daytime TV. And that's our list of any other out-of-place scenes from Star Wars history. Let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're down there. I've been Gareth from What Culture Star Wars. May the Force be with you. Thank you very much for watching this video today, and hopefully I will see your faces very, very soon. Bye-bye.